Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very fun and interesting live stream. We're doing something a bit different today. You may have seen this late last year. We did some of these and doing a little bit different, but for the most part, the same. We're doing a live recording of a podcast. So we do a podcast every week called TubeTalk, and we're going to be doing an episode today about communities, especially around YouTube. So the reason I'm starting this without making it sound like the podcast is recording is because I wanted to just say hello to everybody first and let you know how this works. First of all, hello, Dan. How you doing? Thanks for being here.
Hey, Dan. How's it going? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem, Dan. This won't be confusing for anybody.
Well, it won't be, because normally in meetings, people say Dan, and we have no idea who they're referring to, or Rob says it during a live stream. Now, if you say Dan, I know who you're referring to, because you're not a psycho and you don't refer to yourself in the third person.
You don't know that.
Ooh, I don't know
that. No, I don't, though. I should start, though. I think that would be, if I want to distance myself from people, I think that's the way to do it. So
it does remind me of Seinfeld. Keep me down.
What we're going to do today is we're going to start off, and we're not going to be addressing chat or anything at the start of the show. We're going to go through our podcast because it'll eventually be uploaded onto our podcast feed for everybody to listen to who wasn't here today. But after that, I don't want you guys to go. Even if it sounds like we're wrapping up, you got to stick around for Q&A. We're going to do a whole section where we talk to you guys, take your questions, especially as they pertain to community and your channels and things like that. So yeah, we don't want you to go just because it sounds like we're wrapping this thing up. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or Periscope or wherever you're watching it, we should be able to see your messages in chat, and then we can grab them just like this, and everybody can then see your message. So don't worry if you're on another platform. You should be able to jump into the conversation once we get to the Q&A section. So without further ado, I'm going to abruptly shift into podcast mode, and I hope you guys all enjoy another episode of Tube Talk. Hello and welcome to another episode of Tube Talk. I am Dan Carson, and today it's all about communities, especially communities on YouTube and building them around your channel. And I couldn't do this episode of the podcast without, of course, bringing on the vidIQ community manager himself, Daniel Holzhauser. Did I say that right? I don't say your last name a whole lot.
Pretty close. Holzhauer. It means one who hits wood in German, is my understanding. I like to tell people it means lumberjack in German, though, so you can go either way.
I apologize for mispronouncing that. I went for it, and I shouldn't. I should have just stuck to H, because that's how we do it at work.
Yeah, Dan, H.
H, yes. So thank you for being here. You are, of course, the community manager at vidIQ, and you've been tasked with helping us out on Twitter and Discord and Facebook and Instagram and just everything. And as a lot of people know, vidIQ is rather big these days. There are a lot of communities with a lot of people in each one. We're not trying to brag. It's just a fact of life. So it's humble brag. Let us know just a little bit about you, your experience, and then also just your experience with the vidIQ community.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here to brag. So if you don't want to do it, Dan, I'm happy to do it. So with everything that's gone on in the last few years and the growth of YouTube over the last decade, vidIQ has been growing huge. We've had huge numbers, 790,000 subscribers on our YouTube page. But also a big part of having a community is not just being in one place. So we are all over the place, as you said, Discord and social media and sort of all the different outlets, Clubhouse now, that, you could build a community. So I was brought in as the company was growing to sort of help you guys and help Rob Wilson and everybody manage that, and also be a voice for the community. So when people in the community are having an issue and it pops up over and over again in our comments or on our social media, I'm the person who sees it, and I can bring it up to everybody and make sure that the voices of the community are being heard and that we're sort of meeting all your expectations and solving all the problems that we hope to be able to solve. Going back on myself, I have a fairly extensive background in community management and social media. A few years back, I helped launch a video game called Throne of Lies, which is very much an Among Us style game. What you called Mafia or Werewolf, social deception game. Unfortunately, didn't catch on quite as big as Among Us did, but we had a pretty big population surge. We released as an independent game, had a huge community growth, and big part of that was on Discord. I think over 10,000 members on that Discord community, even now, super active. So I kind of got my feet wet in Discord communities as I was doing social media and doing marketing. And from there, I moved on to a company called DAZN, DAZN, which specialized in live sports and boxing. Currently, 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. And when I came on, we basically had 500 subscribers. So a huge stretch of growth, helped by signing some of the biggest boxers in the history of the sport. We gave Canelo Alvarez the biggest contract in sporting history at some point. If you know about DAZN, that may not have gone down quite as smoothly as some of us hoped. But going from 500 subscribers to now 1.5 million subscribers, you can imagine what that community growth is like. And that it spreads across sort of every segment of social media as well. They're about to hit 1 million followers on Instagram as well. So the comments and the suggestions and the DMs and everything that goes along with it, it was part of my realm and part of my domain. Although I also got to go to a lot of live sporting events, and I traveled to Los Angeles and Hawaii and Toronto and a bunch of amazing places and had a bunch of amazing experiences. And now I get to work from home in my pajamas, and that's pretty awesome as well.
So that's a very long history of managing communities to, it sounds like great success. How important do you feel like the community management aspect was to the teams you were working for?
Yeah, I mean, especially with Throne of Lies, it was an independent video game. There were only 8 people working on the game in its entirety, including programmers, including me as basically the marketing community management. And that was huge. Our Discord community was filled with what we would call super users, our highly engaged audience, people who would tell their friends about our product, tell our friends about our game, would go on Twitch and play the game nonstop, to the point where we had people in our Discord who knew more about the game than we did. They knew better the mechanics of some of the stuff that was programmed into the game by us because they were using it on an every single day basis. When a bug happened in the video game, they were the ones who came to us and said, hey, this is broken. It's happened this many times. I can repeat it. And it was so huge in every aspect of it, growing our community, growing our game, and helping us to be better at what we did. And the same went for DAZN, where we had such a huge growth that, being a community manager, you weren't able to handle every single thing. So much stuff was flooding in, but you get so many good insights from the people who use your product on a daily basis. So many good insights from people who watch your videos on a daily basis. And again, they're the people who pointed out, and even now to us, which can be slightly annoying, but is actually really excellent when we slip up in a video, there's a comment about it. Oh, you said less than, you meant more than. You said this, but you meant that. There's some audio problems in the background, but that makes you better, right? You cannot be stagnant on YouTube. You always have to be growing. You always have to be making your product better. And if you don't have people giving you that kind of feedback, it's almost impossible to do it. You can look at the numbers, you can look at the analytics. Those always really help you, but those super engaged people, the people like you in this chat right now who are members of our community and support us through every single thing that we do, are extremely vital to growth.
I will say, just because you mentioned chat, we do occasionally record these live on our YouTube channel, vidIQ YouTube channel. So you are listening to this after the fact, you've missed out on an engaging conversation also with our community. We also do live Q&A afterwards. So just for podcast listeners out there, something to keep in your back pocket. But I completely agree with you. I think that having a really solid community that can feed back to you in more ways than just hitting the like or dislike button is going to be imperative, especially when you're in a situation where a lot of like what you do depends on that audience being happy. I think all YouTubers, that's probably true for all of them, but especially for like a company that is making a product or a company that has a game, it's super important to have a whole bunch of beta testers in a lot of cases who are like, hey, thanks for this awesome game. By the way, it's broken. Which can be super helpful.
Yeah, and that happens, kind of all the time. And as you know, Dan, I mean, you have your own personal YouTube channel. You do live streams, you have people chatting with you. Minecraft is such an expansive game. There are a million different avenues that you could go down for the Vortac channel, but it helps to have those people saying what they like, what they don't like, and allows you to shape your channel towards what you know that people are going to follow. And it helps for new users as well. Someone that you've never seen before pops into your channel, they give you a whole different perspective than someone who's been with you for this whole ride. And that's what's beauty about coming into vidIQ, is that, I'm new on this ride, but the first months, the first weeks, I was that outside perspective saying, hey, why don't we do this a little bit different? What about this idea, or something that I've used in previous jobs can help here? And that's just what these users are like to us as well.
It's funny how much people in the community you build can just benefit you. Like, they teach you something every day, and whether it's like a bug you didn't know about with your tool, or something in the game you're playing that you just had no idea, just a cool trick, and that can all turn into video content as well. I want to get to that, but let's first talk about the stages of community building when you do something like this, because I think it's really important to kind of pace yourself a little bit. So one thing that I want to talk about is what you should do when you're first starting out. You're at 0 subscribers. Maybe you're hitting close to 100 subscribers. What kind of buildup should there be when you are talking about building your community on YouTube? Should you be starting Discords? Should you be tweeting everywhere? What is the limit when you're at that early stage? Dan, what would you say is the limit to how much you should be doing in terms of community management, community engagement?
Yeah, that is always a big question/problem that we see a lot with people, because we work with so many creators. There are so many different outlets, so many different opportunities, so many different things that you can focus on. But, and especially as coming from the vidIQ perspective, if you're starting a YouTube channel, you want to be a YouTuber, that is where your main focus wants to be right away. There are so many different things on YouTube that you can do better, that you can do well, that you could use to grow your community, that if you're all over the place on day one, you post your first video and you're worried about putting it on social media, you're worried about creating a Discord, you're worrying about doing all these things, you're missing the minute details within YouTube that you could be using to accelerate your channel. And again, YouTube is the basis of your channel. YouTube's algorithm and their data metrics are focused on what you're doing on YouTube. So when you're engaging with your commenters, when you're getting likes, when you're improving your videos, when you're looking at your retention graphs to try and focus your content in a specific way, that's what YouTube is seeing, and that will help you grow your channel. If you're just out there spending your time tweeting about your video and sending out the link or trying to gather resources in other areas, you're missing those details right away. What we suggest is, if you have a YouTube channel, your 100 subscribers are under, your 200, your 300 subscribers, really focus on those people right there. Those are going to be your core audience. Those are the people who like what you're doing now, and they're going to like your videos as you get better and better at it. And those are the people who are going to give this insight that we've been talking about. They're going to come back with your comments. They're going to come back with likes. They're going to tell you the things that you're doing. And as you make those incremental improvements, as you get better with each individual video, they're going to stick with you. So those users are so important, and you want to cater directly to them. Don't spread your time and your energy trying to think that you have to be a multinational business that is in every single pot. Focus on the thing in front of you, focus on your YouTube channel, and make that the best you possibly can. And as you grow, we'll slowly start to assimilate more of these things, slowly start to become a bigger member of the communities that are outside of your community. But first, make sure that your community is there.
Absolutely. We even did an episode recently of TubeTalk on the community tab and just different ways you can use it. Now, that's unlocked at 1,000 subscribers. And I would say that even then, when you hit 1,000 subscribers, is that the right time? Maybe not. Maybe you should stick around on YouTube and now take advantage of this community tab, which is another fantastic way, no matter what kind of channel you have, to engage with your audience on the platform without giving yourself a lot of different, channels to manage, because that's really what it is. That's why they're called community managers. There's just a lot going on. That's why it's an entire job, sometimes for big teams of people, depending on the size and scope of what you're doing.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier, that sometimes you're surprised to learn that a YouTuber who isn't huge, doesn't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, actually has people helping them with a lot of the other aspects of it, because it's almost too much. If you're a YouTube creator, there's creating ideas, there's creating the videos, recording audio, getting better at your audio, getting better at your thumbnails. You have banners, you have comments, you have community posts. These are all just in YouTube. If you're going to try and do all these other things, then you're going to miss out on some of these smaller aspects. So like you said, if you hit 1,000 subscribers, now suddenly you're saying like, oh, let's get Discord going, let's get my Instagram game up. But then you might be missing out on that new community tab. And we've seen, and obviously it's been a pretty big topic on YouTube, as you did, the podcast about it last week, is that there's a lot of opportunities in the community tab, and a lot of people are undervaluing it. We've been doing channel audits through Twitter over the last week. And one of the things I always check that community tab. Are you posting on there? Are you responding to people? And are you just posting links on there? Are you actually asking them questions? Are you getting involved in the community? And those are the things that even without the community tab, you should be doing in your comments. You should be asking people questions in your videos, eliciting those responses, and then taking care of those people who are taking the time to delve into your content and push you further up in YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I want to touch on is that the community aspect of a YouTube channel kind of goes both ways. So you have the people who are coming to you, they're in your comments, maybe your YouTube community tab, maybe you did start a Discord, things like that. But another thing you could be doing to grow your YouTube channel is to enter other communities that are focused around your niche. So I'm talking about maybe joining Discords of the game you're playing on your channel, or if you have like an outdoors channel, finding the pages where those folks live, maybe on Facebook or Reddit or wherever it may be, and not necessarily there to promote your content, but you're there to kind of get yourself out there, become an authority in that community as you continue to grow. What are your thoughts on that? What would you say, like, maybe are some best practices?
Yeah, I think you touched on a really important thing there, is that you don't want to make people feel like you're constantly promoting your stuff. You don't want it to be every time that you appear, it's a link to one of your videos. What we do, and even at vidIQ stage, is when we see a video we like, we try and make a comment on it that is helpful, that is interesting, that is funny, that is a discussion point for people to chat on, that is a place that people can see your name, but actually are interested in what you're saying. If you post links, I mean, we're all inundated with links every single day. There's advertisements here, there's links here. How many times a day do I accidentally click on a link and I'm like, oh my, I'm so annoyed that I have to X out of this and go back to what I'm doing. Links are everywhere, and we've been trained ourselves to sort of eliminate those and disregard them. What we are looking for as viewers, as consumers of entertainment and products, are things that we find interesting. And like you said, going into, and our Discord is a great example, pinned comment up above if you're watching us live or in the chat, is a great place where people can go to and chat. It's not a good place to post links, because I will kick you out of our Discord immediately, because I don't want a million links. I want discussion. I want feedback. I want a community. I want people to feel at home in our Discord. And the same thing for us. I go into other Discord communities, partnered YouTube or NewTubers, or even, like I said, Throne of Lies, the game that I previously worked on. I'm not there to promote my stuff. I'm there just to talk to people. I want to get to know people. I want to make friends in the community. I want to discuss things with other creators. And if at some point they click on my profile, hey, our channel is linked there. They can go see it. If they ask me, hey, what do I do for a living? Yeah, absolutely. I could talk to them. Hey, I work for vidIQ. I make these kind of videos. But that's secondary. The most interesting part to me is making connections. It's growing. It's learning. And the last thing I'm going to do is click on a link that someone blindly sends me, because one, who knows where that link could go. We're all worried about suspicious activity and malware and stuff like that. And secondly, there's so much content I love. Am I really going to, follow some random person onto their content and fall in love with it? Probably not. I have plenty of stuff on my plate. There are plenty of YouTube videos that I love that I don't get to see. What I'm in Discord for is to chat with people. What I'm on social media for is funny takes, is for interesting topics, for what is trending in the news. I'm not about to click on a link and move to another website and to fall down some whole other rabbit hole. I'm there for a very specific reason, and I'm there because I enjoy it.
You said something there that is really interesting too. You're trying to follow trends, you know, and this is why it's so important to be in communities as much as you're trying to build your own, because depending on what it is you cover on YouTube, you might become privy to something that you had no idea was going on, and it becomes part of the research phase as well. If you're kind of wondering to yourself, well, what's the value if I can't promote my videos going to these communities? What's the value? What's in it for me? And that's it right there. It is content ideas that you would not have previously had. I'll tell a personal story for my own Discord. What I did is I signed up certain channels in my Discord to receive updates from different games I was interested in. And now my Discord has feeds of updates coming in, and I've just supercharged my community, not just for me, but for my own, YouTube community, to learn, hey, like, it looks like Minecraft had like a big update. That's cool. And we all get to hear about it in real time if we're not checking Twitter. A lot of people aren't on Twitter. That's not the only place you can go. So there are ways that you can use a community, whether it's yours or someone else's, to generate content for you, while also being able to network, which is super important. So, but on the subject of promoting, when is it okay to promote? What's the balance there? Because there is a point where you have your Twitter for your YouTube channel, right? And you're making videos, you want people to know that. And like you said, there's links everywhere. Well, that's because people do use it to promote. So what would you say is a good balance? You do this with our Twitter and our other social channels too, right? You're promoting content in there. What is the Dan H secret sauce to the balance between self-promotion and just being a part of the conversation?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people talk about this is they talk about value. You want to provide value to people, and value is not necessarily links. But if you have something interesting to say, you may have made a video about it, and there is value in that. When, Rob Wilson started making videos about shorts, a big reason for that is because small creators were really benefiting from it. So he wants everyone to know about this. He wants our community to know about that. That is a perfect time to share a link on our social media, a perfect time to go to Reddit, to other subreddits, and say, hey, we are noticing this change in YouTube. Here's some new information. We think it's valuable to you. Here you go, take this link. But there are other ways to provide value as well, and you want to do that. So we ask a lot of questions on our YouTube or on our social media because we get great responses. We want to know what you guys are thinking about certain topics. So I'll just ask a question. No links, no, expectation or reciprocity. I don't know why I went with such a hard word there, but we're not expecting anything in return when we send something like that. We're just expecting to get your response. We genuinely want to know what you feel. And again, a lot of the graphics we'll share will have the vidIQ logo in it. So, we get a little bit of value in that. So people are seeing it. If they share it, then someone doesn't know what vidIQ is, they get some value. We get some value back in return there. Essentially, what I want to do is, if I'm going to send out 5 tweets over 2 days, one of them is going to be promoting a specific aspect of our product. It's going to be a link to a video. It's going to be a tool that we use, but it's not necessarily even going to be a link. Maybe I'll just post part of the video natively on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter. That way people don't have to jump to our YouTube channel and leave the platform to see it. I want them to have that information. I don't want to necessarily feel like they have to give something back to us and click on our video, or feel like they're brought to our page to do it. I want them to have the value. I want them to have the information. And hopefully, and it happens all the time, is you interact with someone, you give them a good piece of information, you're looking at TweetDeck, bam, they followed you. Or you see them on Twitter, next day you see them commenting on our YouTube videos, hey, this happened. We'll comment on people, reply to comments on our YouTube, and the next day someone in Discord will be like, oh man, vidIQ responded to me. This is so awesome. It made my day, because we're taking the time out to give something back to them. They're commenting, we're commenting. Now all of a sudden they're spreading to these different aspects. They're watching our videos, they're telling people about vidIQ, they're in our Discord. So again, value is something that you should always be thinking about. And I know, Gary Vee is big on this. A lot of YouTubers, obviously Rob Wilson talks about this. Give value to your community, make them aware of things that are important to them, and they'll give back to you.
The value is such an important piece of the puzzle too. It's you have to on any, especially a new YouTube channel, you have to do a lot to break through. And what we're always telling people is to make sure you're making videos, make content that provides a lot of value to the audience. So you're making a video and it's a lot of fun, but it's less about you and more about them. So yeah, while it's fun to just kind of do a vlog where you're walking through your house and talking about what you're gonna have for dinner and all that stuff, what is the draw for people who don't know who you are yet, and having that community is just one more way to give that value outside of just, you made a video, now instead of a vlog, it's a tutorial about how you made dinner or something like that. A little bit of value. And then there's a question in your comments. What was that seasoning you were using? And now a discussion has started, and that person by the end of that discussion is probably like, this is cool. I not only did I learn to make some kind of new dish, I can ask this person questions and they get back to me, so if it catches fire in the oven, I can feed back and say, what temperature did you put that in for? Because I need a new oven.
The Liron Segev method of cooking pizza. Yeah, you just throw it all in there and see what happens. But getting that feedback is super important. And that's something that I've tried to stress to the moderators in our Discord and the people who are in our Discord is I want it to feel like a welcoming place. I want it to feel like they have access to the people who are in vidIQ. Some people will, ping me in the Discord and immediately, someone else will respond being like, don't ping him. He's got the other stuff to do. And then I'll come back like, hey, my DMs are open. I allow, people to ping me for a specific reason. I want you to feel like you have a connection to vidIQ. I want you to feel like you have a voice in this community. And obviously, we're a bigger channel. We are a business, so there's sort of less expectation that you'll have that. If you're a smaller creator, you need that. You need people to feel like they have that access to you where they're going to comment and you're going to answer it. If they have a question about something you're doing in your video, they want to know that you're going to respond because they'll move on to a different creator next time. If your video has a bunch of holes in it and they can't get filled in on what they're missing, they're going to have to find someone else that will give them that information because there is, again, something missing. There's a hole in the process.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that that doesn't happen, even at the status that we're at vidIQ. We want you to feel like if you have a problem, you have a question, we're here to help you find that answer.
I got to say, let's circle back to something with that in mind. So you have this Discord community. People are asking you questions about what you're doing on your channel. They would like some answers. That's how they found you in the first place. They just want a little more detail. At the beginning of this, we told you maybe don't make a Discord yet. Maybe don't be on Twitter and all these places and juggle all these different channels. But that's why we want you to be careful about that, because once you open that Discord, once you open that Facebook group, whatever it is, you now have another responsibility. If you're not a big company that can hire a community manager, your very own Dan H., then you need to do that yourself. And it's so important to, be present. You can't really have a Discord community that is focused around you and what you do if you're not actually going to engage in there. So it becomes another part of the job, and it goes back to what I'm always telling creators is like, you want to focus, you want to make sure your channel is focused on one thing. You want to make sure if you're going to start a second channel that you actually have time to do that while you have other things in life going on. You want to, there's a lot of things we're all passionate about as creatives, and it's important to pick the one you think is going to give you the most ideas, the most inspiration, and build the best channel. Because you have to eventually split your time between different things around that one idea, around that one topic. Now you're making a community about it with a Discord and something like that. So we put a number on it earlier. I was saying, below 1,000 subscribers, maybe even after you hit 1,000 subscribers, you're still not starting. Dan, what number, if we had to put a number on it, and it's going to be different for everybody, let's just say that, but what number do you think is about, it's when you would go to a channel and you'd be surprised not to see a Discord server, not to see a Reddit page, something?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially gaming channels, specifically if we're talking Discord, because Discord's a bit more gaming focused. If a channel has 10,000 subscribers, I think you fully expect to see a Discord there, because that has a community that they've built up that you'd have that expectation. But what I also want you to think about when you're creating this, or when you're thinking about creating a Discord community, you should have, and now this doesn't have to be a physical list, a mental list of highly engaged users. Who are the people that you expect would join your Discord and be active in there? If you can't, post a video and expect people to comment, then they're not going to be in your Discord at the same time. So go through a list of people that are community members, that are engaged community members, and think about how many of them you expect will transfer over to this Discord community. Because as you said, it's going to be a time commitment. If you look up online tutorials on how to grow a Discord channel, how to best have a Discord community, number one is activity. You need to be in there. You need to be talking, and you need people in there talking. So if you have 10 people that will be in your Discord community, that's good. But are they 10 active people? Are they 10 people who you can get to click that button, but you'll never see again? Are they 10 people who don't have Discord and you'll never expect to see them in there? If you have 25 to 50 people, that is a big difference in the amount of people that are going to be chatting, because even at 5,600 members in our Discord community, people will say, "Oh, dead chat. Nothing's going on." And I'm sitting there like, man, we got 20 channels open. There's probably someone talking somewhere, but people are quick. Dead chat, dead chat, dead chat. And that's what you want to try and avoid. Again, you can't avoid the trolls. You can't avoid people who are just messing around and, like to do that because, it's fun for them. But you want to have people that are going to be active. You want a discussion to be ongoing, and that isn't going to have these large lulls in conversation, and then you expect them to pick it up and start it. Because at that point, if you have dead chat, you have an extended period of time where no one's chatting, it's up to you to go in there and start that chat. You need to start talking, but that means that you need to have other people that you expect to be in there. And one of the things that we discussed, early on in me coming on and having the roles around here is how important moderators are. You'll see them in our chat right now on YouTube. You see them on Discord all the time. They are people that we've sort of rewarded because they're super active in our community, and because we trust them. We know that they're the type of people that we want in our community. And secondly, they also feel a bit of a responsibility for it. They feel like they are part of the hierarchy of the community. They're the ones to set an example. So now that we have, a handful of highly active, highly engaged moderators, now I don't have to feel like I have to start that chat up. If there's a quote unquote dead chat, I can bet that one of our moderators is probably going to be stepping up and talking. Or if someone just says hi in the chat, there's going to be someone who is a super user, actively engaged user who's there and is going to respond. And that's what you want when you want to start a Discord. Now, there are other options as well. If you have 10 people who you play video games with every single week and you're constantly chatting with them, Discord is a good place to create a private server and to have them come on and talk. And that's one way you can sort of naturally grow a Discord, is you start with a few core members. You're not expecting people to come in and invite them. You use it for streaming your games to each other, for chatting with each other, and then potentially you can grow it. But if you're a YouTuber, if you are only wanting it as a community management tool, you want to grow a community, you need to know for a fact that there are close to 100 people that you could send this invite to and that they're going to be active on. And like I said, 10,000 subscribers, if you're a gaming channel, that is sort of the perfect opportunity to say, hey, here's my Discord, put it on the community tab, put it on my social media, and see how it goes from there. Because if you're at that stage and you're getting consistent views, you should know who your engaged users are. know who's in your comment section, and expect those people to join, because then you could reach out to them and say, hey, man, you love to comment on the videos. Why not check out the Discord? You could ask me this question there. Or if you have more questions, come here. Do a live Q&A, a streaming video where you're taking questions. And then you could say, hey, you have more questions? Come join us. I'm going to be in the Discord for the next hour, and I'm going to answer all your questions there.
I think that's a really good way to think about it. And I think that's probably, if anyone out there is looking for a roadmap, at least one that could give some ideas. And just part of the journey, something that you and I discussed maybe bringing up before the end of the show today, was how your channel goes from becoming just something that is you and your community having fun to maybe more of a business. And the part we want to talk about specifically is YouTube memberships, maybe even Patreon, things like that. Because when you unlock YouTube's monetization, you unlock the ability of, I don't know if it happens at the same time. It's everything just happened all at once for me because they brought memberships in when I was already part of the program. But at some point you can have memberships on your channel, which are something that you can set up with multiple tiers, and people can decide if they want to pay money to support you in different ways. And you have to decide what perks they get for doing that. So would you say that along with this Discord people might be thinking of making, or Reddit or Facebook page or whatever, would you say at the same time they should be also diving straight into memberships as soon as they possibly can? Same question, but for memberships, when is it weird not to see them, or when would be the right time to start that journey?
Yeah, I think memberships are a little bit different because I think they're not quite as common. So I don't think you're kind of expecting necessarily that a specific channel size will have them. Obviously, bigger channels definitely will. But I think my theory on that is, memberships and sort of Patreon is the same way, is when you have the ability to make excess content. You need to be able to offer these people sort of exclusive items or exclusive content, exclusive access to you that you're not giving to your regular people. So if you're creating a video, once a week, and that's sort of your limit at the moment, it's going to be super tough to get interesting content to give to people and have them pay you money on a monthly basis for it. If you feel like you're at that point where now you have consistent sort of franchise videos where, every Monday you're releasing something, every Friday you're releasing something. Now you probably have excess footage that you're cutting off. You have, your bloopers, you have the things that didn't quite make it. You have your unedited thing. Maybe you have a podcast. Maybe you're doing, content that's not specifically for YouTube. And this is the type of stuff that you can give to members and to give that sort of further benefit. And now, with YouTube, it's not quite as robust as, say, something on Twitch, where you can have, different icons or different, setups where people can have, perks in the chat. For YouTube, you really need to be thinking about what you're going to provide to these people. So again, even if you have a big channel, that is a big step to have memberships. You need to be comfortable knowing that you're going to almost need to be doubling your efforts in terms of creating content, because now you need to have this extra amount of content to be given out.
Yeah, you can have emotes, by the way. It's very similar to Twitch. I don't know if that was right away, but you can do membership badges and stuff, but it is limited in that's pretty much the only automated exclusive perk, and by automated, I mean you're not having to create extra videos every week. It's something you set up once and forget about. So that can be kind of nice, but no, to all of your points, I completely agree. It's again, just like we've been talking about, setting up that Discord is like another part-time job, just like your channel was when you set that up. And now we're talking about an additional part-time job of having memberships and creating perks. One way YouTube describes it is you want to create perks that scale. So if you're going to be creating this membership, you don't want to offer something that requires you to do a bunch of legwork for every individual new member. And by that, I mean, maybe you say, hey, if you become a member of my channel, I'll give you a personalized video message. Well, that might be fine when you get 10 members, but as your channel grows and you start getting members at scale, it's going to be really tough to keep providing that perk. So you want to make sure you're giving benefits like Dan discussed that are maybe something that you have already, like bloopers, something funny that happened that you cut out of the video, but might make a cool clip or something to share with those folks. You can also do members community posts, which are, a little bit of extra work, but you just something just for them, to jump in on and be excited about. So a lot of ways you can benefit.
Yeah, we see that even just something as simple as Discord, where, I love giving out roles in Discord, and, plenty of times I'll do like a little giveaway type of thing and be like, hey, everyone who reacts to this or everyone who does this type of thing gets a Discord role. All of a sudden you have 200 people who need a Discord role. Now you got to keep track of them. You got to make sure that everyone gets it. It's something that seemed like the simplest thing in the world to just, click a couple buttons, bam, 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 I'll run through this. But there are logistical questions about how you can keep track of everybody, how you're monitoring your tweets, or, monitoring a hashtag. If you do a giveaway on that, there are things that you're not going to think about right away that all of a sudden, like you're saying, once you get that big growth, that they're going to be a lot harder to reproduce. And Kickstarter is the same way. With Throne of Lies, we had a great Kickstarter that really helped our community grow before the game was even released. But then all of a sudden now it's, okay, we got to send out shirts, we got to send out stickers, we've got to, figure out, get people's addresses, get people's emails, make sure that every single person who did this is getting their objects fulfilled. And as you said, scalable content is a much better way to do that. If I'm saying, all right, I make 2 videos a week, now I make 3 videos a week, and I send this out to every single person who's a member, that's a good way to do it. A bad way to do it is, like you said, I will say hi to every new member in a video, because now I need a list. I need, if there's 100 members, now it's like, oh, wait, how long does it take me to read all those names out? Am I making detrimental content now because I'm spending 10 minutes in the middle of every single video saying hi to these people? It's a lot easier to give them content and to give them things that you're already creating and have offcuts and offshoots of them than it is to create things out of the whole cloth.
Yeah. I've seen people handle that too with shouting everybody out who's a member. And the way I've seen bigger channels do it is literally have a card that pops up at the end of the screen, kind of like credits, and everyone's name is on it. But that, again, is something I look at and I'm like, they had to make that. They had to literally type out all those names so they appeared on this nice looking card that they made. And that just, it out. Everything you do on YouTube, the point that we're trying to make is everything you do with your community takes extra time. So you just want to be really careful about that, especially when you're just starting out. And maybe you've already blocked out a very delicate schedule that, okay, this is my only day to record. This is my only day to edit. This is my only day to answer comments. And you don't want to get tempted by that urge. Maybe 1 or 2 people in your comments are like, hey, when are you going to start a Discord? It's okay to tell them, I hope one day, and not, take that as like, oh gosh, a lot of people are asking me about this because a couple people have brought it up a few times. So be very careful about what you take on.
Yeah, and what you promise to people, right? Because you are making promises to people. If you say, yeah, let's all do this, let's all go on Discord, let's all go on this community and create. Because one thing that I also tell people, and this relates directly to social media, is that you don't realize it necessarily from the get-go, but each social media platform has its own rhythm, has its own content style. It has its own things that perform well, where Twitter is great for comedic purposes, for quips, for one-liners, for sharing memes and stuff like that. Then you go to Instagram, you share those exact same things. Now you need a graphic every single time. You need square videos every single time. Now all of a sudden you thought, oh, I'll just make this one piece of content. I'll put it on all my social media platforms. Now you need to edit it to specific styles, especially to get them to work. So understand what you're producing, understand what your personality fits on specific social medias, and take those on one at a time. Don't just say, okay, now I'm creating Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, a Facebook group, a Discord, and I'm just going to share everything all the same all across them, because it's not going to work and you're not going to grow in those certain aspects. And now you're going to default back to just doing your YouTube. And now you're going to have 5 social media platforms that are dead and have nothing on them. And when people search for your information, they're going to come across those, and all of a sudden they're going to see a dead platform.
I could not agree more. And I can relate to that. I have this bit of content. Let me put it everywhere. And then suddenly, oh no, I've made way too much work for myself. And now I've set expectations too high. Dan, before we go, where can folks find? Usually you would ask the guest where can they find you, but you're here at vidIQ. But if they wanted to catch up with you, where's the best place to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Discord community is the best place to catch up with me and to talk to me. vidIQ.com/Discord will take you right to the server. And my username is ISW Thunder, which has no relation to anything in the real world anymore. But my DMs are always open. As I said, you're welcome to ping me and to chat with me because, the reason that I'm here at vidIQ is to be a voice of the community. That if you wanted Rob Wilson to see something, the best bet is to give it to me. And then I will, assuming it's good, promote it to Rob Wilson or put it in the company Slack or send it to Dan C or send it to Jeff or send it to Savage because I know that they love that type of stuff. And I know what type of stuff that they'll appreciate seeing. A good example is I think we're calling him Yonk or Jonk, made a stick figure image of us from our last channel audit. And immediately I sent it to the Slack saying, this is great. Like, everyone look at this. And then it was the thumbnail for our channel audit stream the next week because Rob Wilson thought so highly of it. So come down to the Discord, join us there, come chat with me, and then you'll have an opportunity to connect to the wider vidIQ community. And Tuesday channel audits, I always like to pop in and give my insights and try and keep up with the big hitters, Rob and Dan and Jeff and Savage. So come out there and support me as well.
Well, Dan, thank you for doing this. It's been awesome. And we will see everybody in the next one.
Thank you for having me.
Now it's time for Q&A. Thank you, everybody.
Not so fast. We're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. What do we tell you? So that is a podcast in the can. It's always nice to have some work done ahead of time because I'll have to get this all squared away next week, and it'll be nice to have this part done. So
what I will point out is that is always an interesting thing about taking on social media, especially as like a full-time role, is that all of a sudden you'll have a few ideas, you'll schedule them out, and boom, you'll have 7 posts scheduled out for the week. And you're like, wow, that's a great feeling. Those are 7 things that I don't have to think about. That's a weight off my shoulders. The problem is Friday hits and all of a sudden that calendar's blank again. And you're like, man, I am back at square one. And it's always like this where you're kind of trying to catch up on yourself. So, which is why it's great to not take on too much at once, to understand that you only have so much time. You're a small YouTuber. You're not doing this professionally. You're making a few dollars here if you're monetized, a few dollars there. It's probably not enough to sustain you. So you got other responsibilities, work and family and exercise and eating healthy, and all this stuff plays a pivotal role in your life. The last thing you want to do is feel like, okay, I need 20 Instagram posts for this month.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that too, especially with videos. Trying to get some videos planned, and there's no better feeling than having the 2 videos you're gonna do that week or anything scheduled out. And really, if I was smart, I would keep going, and keep getting stuff scheduled out, because there's always that time where you're like, I could really use a break, and I don't want to break my schedule to take a break. So, yeah, I mean, truer words. Cookie sheets and sweets with our first question. We are taking questions, so yeah, hashtag question really does help us pick these out in chat. There's a lot of you kind of chatting with one another here, so it helps us to see that hashtag question. And if you want to focus more on the community conversation we had today, that would also help us out. We do a stream every Wednesday where we take more general questions. So if you want the best chance of getting your question answered, try and keep it towards this community theme that we've built here today. So Cookie Sheets and Sweets, great name, asks, as a brand new creator, what is the best way to connect and engage with other creators in my niche? Do you want to take this?
Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely always a tough thing. YouTube does not have great features for connecting with other people, right? You can comment on videos of other people in your niche, but That will give you a little bit of visibility. But again, it doesn't really give you a great way for people to connect back to you. I am a big fan and big advocate of Reddit. I know there are some Reddit holes you don't want to go down, but if you go into, as I mentioned earlier, new tubers or partnered YouTubers, and there are different communities specifically for YouTubers, those are great places to get feedback and get information and get, a feeling of community from them. And then there are also going to be cooking and, recipe type of subreddits where you don't even have to approach them necessarily from that perspective. Oh, I'm a creator, I'm looking for recipe ideas. It's just, hey, look at cool recipes, look at what other people are doing, look at what people are trending. And then at some point, and again, depending on community rules, you can post your video and say, hey, I made that recipe, I followed through with it, here's a picture of what I created. And that gives you a good way to connect in two different ways. Connect with the YouTubers in a certain subreddit, connect with the food people in another subreddit. And we always talk about Discord, right? And it goes the same way. Those subreddits often have Discords where you can then, follow up and have a more, 24/7 type of chat with people and really connect with people on a one-to-one basis. And then you can look for people who are just super interested in food. I watch Sorted Food all the time. They have a community app, they have a PAX app, they do a ton of stuff with food. And those are the type of channels that you want to look for, who are within your niche, who are big enough to have their own communities and become ingrained in them.
That's great advice. I got two here. One's very quick. Someone's asking how we do our show like this, and I just love promoting this software. It's called StreamYard. If you go to streamyard.com, you can look into it. It's not free. I think there's a free version, but for all the bells and whistles, it's not free. But it is really nice, and they keep improving it too. So shout out to them. Not a sponsor, we're just fans.
Not a sponsor, but since we've mentioned it the last week, I've gotten about 20 StreamYard advertisements. So StreamYards, chill out. We're using it. Relax.
We're already here.
Yeah.
All right. So Rexus says, mega appreciate your help. I'm keen to understand more on how we can deliver value to our audiences. Are there some good examples of doing this? I'll go first here. So we talk about, and I just noticed your Minecraft avatar, and so I me, I always love speaking directly to gaming channels whenever I can. We talk about bringing value, and something that always sticks out of my head is we do channel audits on Tuesdays, and we see so many gaming channels, especially gaming channels, seem to fall into this trap of like, hey, I'm not growing, and so we look, and it's just episode after episode of Let's Plays, and there's no real, even the title doesn't indicate what I'm going to get out of the video. So when we say bring value to people, what we're talking about is, especially when you're starting out, yes, entertainment value counts, but when you're new, you still have to, you are beholden to the search gods, and you have to placate them. So you want to be making that Let's Play more about the thing you did in the video rather than the fact that it's episode 12 of you playing Minecraft, because no one knows who you are yet. So if you're a Markiplier, you can get away with that. But if you're newer to YouTube, it's a lot tougher. So I always like to say, try and do something in your video that you can then point to in the title, and say how to do blank in Minecraft, or how to cook a souffle or something. And then, like the vlog example I used earlier, it may still be a vlog wherein part of it you cook a souffle, but really it's also a draw to you and your personality. And like, today I'm going to cook this souffle, but first I got to go out to the store. And as long as you're popping and there's a good hook there, and people know, okay, I'm going to learn how to cook a souffle, but this is actually kind of cool, seeing the process here, that you can still be yourself. You can still do that, but you want to give back to your audience who's taking the time to watch you. So that's what we say. Dan, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I will say, and bringing up a good point that YouTube has made in their sort of yearly newsletter that they sent out to everyone. They pointed out that over 1 billion videos have been watched with the word beginner in the title, because that's what people are searching for. 77% of people who responded to a survey said they learned a brand new skill in the last year directly from YouTube. That shows you that with everything that's going on in the world, people are coming to YouTube for information, for advice, for guidance, and you want to be able to capture that quote unquote trend. That's something that always happens in YouTube, but now it's happening more than ever because people are stuck in their homes. They can't interact with people the way that they did. And that is a great way to provide value, is that they can learn something, find out new information, find out new news, become a part of your community and feel welcomed in it. So make sure that you are playing towards people who are in your community already, people who love your content, but also the brand new eyes. I think it was Stan Lee who said every single comic book is somebody's first comic book. Remember that every single video is somebody's first video that they're watching of yours.
That is exactly. I'm so glad you brought up that in the context of comic books. I'm glad I'm not the first person to try and get that point across to people. I want to take this next question here. What's the best way to keep up with the replies? YouTube rarely alerts me when someone replies to a reply. So what Casey here is asking is like, I've taken the time to reply to people, but then the comment just kind of disappears. I don't see it again. And I was struggling with this myself very recently. And there's 2 ways I can recommend doing this. The first would be to go back into your YouTube mobile app, because the comments, as you scroll back through them, don't disappear. It just says reply underneath, and it'll say like 2 replies or 3 replies. So that's one way you can do it. Another way is I'll pull up the screen here. Let me just get my screen sharing started. Share screen, share that screen. And there it is. So 1 second. There we go. What you can do is you can actually go into YouTube and you can hit filter. And then right now, the response status is, it's usually, for me, it's always set to comments I have not responded to. So that's why when you respond to something, it disappears. But if you go to response status and hit I have responded to and hit apply, suddenly you're going to see all of the comments that you've bothered to reply to. And then look at this. We have people replying and following up right here. So that is how I would do that. It's going to take you extra time to kind of train yourself to do that. But as you're setting time aside for yourself to like answer these questions and follow up with your comments, you'll just kind of fit it into your schedule, right? It'll be like, all right, I'm going to spend 30 minutes going through the replies just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Maybe that'll only take you 2 minutes. Maybe no one's replied. But yeah, I wanted to share that trick with everybody because I never look at those filters. So I always reply to somebody, and I just try not to ask follow-up questions because I'm going to lose them.
I will say that is one of my one of my favorite aspects of this job is when I respond to someone's comment and I think I have something sort of cheeky or fun to say or something informative, I go back and do exactly what you just did, hoping that people have responded to me, to be like, give me a laugh emoji, give me a like, give me something. And I definitely feed off of a lot of those responses where I'm trying to be like, I know I had something funny to say. I hope they understood me. I hope that connected with them. And I hope they enjoyed that they got a response for it.
Yeah, that's, I love the filters were like a godsend from YouTube. It was great. Raven, how's it going? I get a lot of positive comments on my videos, which is great. I really enjoy reading and answering them, but I don't find good questions I could ask in my videos. Do you have any tips on that?
Well, I think, hopefully your community and your niche as good as anybody. So, sometimes you may need to be generating the questions in your video and really sitting down to brainstorm what people are going to be interested in. Being, a vidIQ community manager, I know that people who are watching our video are interested in us, but they're interested in their own channels. They want to know what is going to make them succeed. So the questions I try and ask in comments, in social media, the questions that Rob Wilson asked in our video almost always pertain to that, right? What is your favorite analytic and metric? What was your favorite moment as a YouTuber? What are the things that really get you as a YouTuber jazzed up? And those are the things that we push towards. And the more questions like that you ask, the more responses you're going to get, and people are going to start asking more of those questions. So I think a little bit of it is brainstorming, thinking about what someone who's watching your video is going to be thinking about and eliciting that response. And then you get into a bit of a rhythm where people sort of expect those things, and then they'll start asking those questions more.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be a question too. You could always prompt a response by asking a question like, have you ever made a souffle like the one we're going to make today? Or what's your favorite recipe? Or, tell me about the time you tried redstone in Minecraft and it totally blew up in your face. You can always prompt discussions. They don't always have to be questions, because even that can lead to some interesting conversations.
Now, I want to know, what is it that's so catchy about souffles that they've lasted in pop culture for so long? Because I don't know anyone who's ever eaten a souffle. I'm not even sure what a souffle is, but I know that it's a go-to pop culture moment or item to use when you're talking about cooking. And I don't even know what a souffle is. So in the comment section, if you're watching this, please tell me what a souffle is.
It has something to do with egg. I know that, and I know they're very fragile. Like, you can mess them up really easily, which is why I keep going back to them.
I know in that Shaq Steele movie, right? The grandma was always cooking a souffle, and it always deflated, and that was the big thing about souffles. Why a food item deflates? I got nothing.
I want to just really quickly, earlier in the show, True Power sent us a $1.99 super sticker, so thank you for that. I did not address that earlier, so just wanted to do that real quick, and we appreciate it. Let's see. I'm going to catch up with the newer comments here. If you asked your comment a while ago, it's okay to post it. Just make sure you're not spamming or anything, but the chat moves pretty quick and we do miss them. So it's okay to, go grab your question again and put it back after some time. So let's see here. Just kind of scrolling through. Okay. So Cole Sports asks a pretty straightforward question. What are the requirements, if any, for the community tab? I know for sure it's 1,000 subscribers. I don't think there's anything beyond that. One thing you'll find, though, is that it takes extra time. Like, it's not an overnight trigger. Like, oh, this person got 1,000, it automatically unlocks the community tab. I think there's a process that happens in the background, because I have a channel I haven't really told anyone about. I finally got to 1,000 subscribers. I'm excited. Still no community tab, and it's been a while. So there is a process there, but I think that's really all you have to worry about is 1,000 subscribers.
Apparently Raven says that she's messed up many souffles. So apparently it was the perfect person to discuss souffles with. So I'm glad with that. But yeah, we get that a lot. Be patient. Custom URLs are the same way. The community tab is the same way. Monetization obviously is the same way. There is a bit of a review process for YouTube. Take a deep breath. It's nothing that you missed. It's not something that is going to happen right away. Give it a week. It's going to pop up. I don't think we've ever seen anyone who came back to us and said, oh, it's been 3 months and I don't have the community tab. It's usually going to take a week. It's going to take a little bit of time. You'll get there.
Well, I'm impatient. I want it now.
That is true.
Donald here asks, this is a super niche question, but I'm taking it anyway. How does the new Minecraft SMP grow its Discord? We've had people join, but shortly leave. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Minecraft SMP refers to a multiplayer like Minecraft server. And you may have heard of like Dream SMP, the big, server. I think just full of content creators. I don't really follow too closely, but in any case, it's a popular thing to do if you have a Minecraft channel. If you're trying to grow a Discord, I assume you're doing that by having a YouTube channel. So really, it's hard to say why people are leaving right away, but it could just be because you're not really engaging with them. Without going there, we don't really know. But if people are joining, saying hello, and trying to introduce themselves, and then no one interacts with them, yeah, they're probably going to leave. There's a lot of Discords out there and a lot of Minecraft servers to join as well. Any advice there? It's more of a general, like, how do I keep people from leaving my Discord question?
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that we sort of face. Now Discord has rolled out a sort of different way for rules to work. So it used to be a bit complicated to get people to accept our rules, and they couldn't chat earlier and they had to go through this process. So sort of the overarching thing for that is decreasing what we call friction. So you want it to be as easy as possible for someone to get into your server, to find exactly where they should be at the beginning. So what we do is that we have a channel where people can post a link to their YouTube channels. So we don't allow self-promotion in the server, but there's one place, it's now called your channel here or your introduction here. And that lets everyone know, hey, you can post your channel information here. A good way to do this is with bots. There are welcome messages that you can do, whether you want it to be in a DM or just a ping. It's say, hey, as soon as they enter the server, here's a little bit of a message. Welcome to our server. Put your, chat here first, or stop by this place to get a role, or stop by this place to set up notifications. You want to guide them a little bit when they first join your server so that they know exactly where to go. They know what to do and what not to do. And as Dan said, you want to, if possible, be able to welcome them one-on-one, or have someone welcome them one-on-one as soon as they're in there. That way they don't feel like it's an empty place, and they feel like it's a welcoming place to be.
I mean, I've seen this with live stream chats too, Twitch, YouTube, be it whatever you stream on. If you encourage people to also welcome new folks to your chat, it makes people feel so welcomed. It's much, much harder to leave when 7, 8, 20 people suddenly ping your name specifically and say, oh my gosh, Bob, welcome. Like, thank you for being here, And it's why it's so important to create like a strong bond with the people who, bother to come watch your live streams day after day after day, and, instill in them like, hey, I'm really glad you're here, and if you welcome them profusely, like, hey, welcome new person, thank you for being here. And you also tell your moderators like, hey, like when you see new people, like don't be afraid to welcome them as well. Eventually people in chat start to jump in. You don't really have to individually tell everyone, by the way, guys, when we get someone new, please welcome them. Don't have to do that. Just create that culture naturally and organically, and it'll really make a huge difference, and it'll carry over to your Discord. It'll carry over to your subreddit or whatever it is. If people, I don't know if Reddit's the best example in that case, but it'll carry over to those communities, and people will say, oh my gosh, welcome. I like this creator too, and
yeah,
you guys
that
all have that in
happens
common.
On Tuesdays, I'm in our live streams, but I'm also trying to welcome people to our Discord server, since we're sending out, the Discord links all the time. And I'll have a very similar message, channel introductions, roles, notifications, that type of stuff. All of a sudden, you'll see other members of the community posting that same exact message because they see that there's a new member. Dan hasn't had the opportunity to welcome them. They'll just say, hey, I'm going to welcome them, right? I'm going to be part of that welcoming committee. I'm going to take it upon myself to do that. And now that I think about it, I now need to create a new role called welcoming committee for people who welcome people to our server.
There you go. Did you learn how to make a souffle now? I put that
let's see. A souffle is an egg dish consisting of mostly eggs, a little bit of flour, butter, and milk. It's all about getting the egg whites properly whipped to get the perfect rise. There you go. So the raising agent is your muscles, and you whip as much air into those eggs. So I guess if you clap really hard, those air bubbles pop, and then the souffle deflates. And I've never had a souffle. Now we're going into a different topic, because I'm like, is this a savory thing? I thought it was a sweet like dessert thing, but it sounds like it's a little bit of a pastry, butter and milk. I'm in. I like croissants. My girlfriend hates how I say croissant, but I love them.
I was trying to bring it back for us. So what Cookie Sheets and Sweets just demonstrated was what it's like to go into a community and answer a question for somebody and earn a little bit of credibility. Now, I know their channel's about baking, but now they've just earned even more credibility with me, not just because they have a cool logo and a cool name, but they've just demonstrated their value, So that is exactly what we're talking about, which is why I wanted to put it up there. So in any case, a little more of a different question here. Do comments have an impact on the YouTube algorithm? And I think the only correct answer here is we don't really know. YouTube is very secretive about their algorithm, famously so, but we do believe it has an impact in some way, big or small. It's important because I think YouTube measures everything as engagement, likes, dislikes, comments, subscriptions from videos, things like that. It's all engagement. So if people are stopping in their tracks to not only watch your content, but then comment on it, that doesn't go unnoticed, we believe, because look at the community tab right now, where if you make a poll, it's getting pushed to all these people who aren't subscribed to you. Well, how engaging was that poll? Did people vote on it? And if they voted on it, did they also stick around to leave a comment and hit like? Because that makes a difference. I have a poll right now, which is getting more votes and likes and comments. It hasn't been shared on anyone else's community tab yet. And I have over 13,000 votes, which is, even for today's community tab standards, unprecedented for my channel. 600 plus comments, 600 plus likes. And I feel like I haven't posted a poll since, and it's just still going. So I think it's just getting pushed more and more because people stopped and interacted with it. So the short answer, in my opinion, is yes, but without having, the full rundown from YouTube themselves, I don't know if that's public information. So
Yeah, I think that is the best answer that we can get, is that YouTube is taking all this data in. They're tracking engagements and comments and views and all these analytics. It would be shocking to think that they're not pushing a video that gets a lot of comments, that gets a lot of engagements, because they know that people are taking that extra step. Viewing is very easy. It takes a little bit more effort to like. It takes even more effort to comment. So these are people who are highly engaged and are taking their time out to do it. And if you look at vidIQ, one of our most popular / most watched videos is also our most disliked video, because it has to do with downloading a YouTube video, but it's referring to downloading your own YouTube video, and people smash the dislike button. But that doesn't stop YouTube from pushing it. When you search how to download a video, you get our video, even if it's not exactly what you're looking for, and even if the dislike ratio is off the charts. So clearly YouTube is taking that as a positive step and not saying, oh, this doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, it's all a mystery, but at the same time, it's, there's ways to kind of get hints from YouTube, and measure this stuff a little bit, and they track engagement, so it must be important. Excellent dude. We always like seeing you pop up. Thank you for being here. Excellent dude's really cool because of their name, and they teach Excel. So it well done to you. Is there a way to develop a community around a tutorial channel where most viewers watch 1 or 2 videos to solve a specific problem and then move on? That can be very tough. But when it comes to especially something like Excel, I think there's always something to learn there. And I think you just need to imagine can you take that anywhere else? Can you take that? How would a community around Excel work? I guess what I'm trying to say is, maybe depending on the type of channel you want to have, some channels will be, better to have a Discord server than others, for example. Maybe Dan can articulate what I'm trying to say a little bit better.
Well, what I will point out is that, vidIQ is an interesting community because we got a lot of people who come and go because they have small channels, and whether or not they grow, they stick with us, or they grow huge and then suddenly they're not as involved with the community. What I try and do as a Discord manager is to give other outlets for them to talk about, right? We have a channel for sports, for gaming, for memes, for, different subjects that people can get into. So what you want to do is use Excel to bring them into the community, but also discover what other things you have in common with them. What are the types of things that you'd expect them to like on your Twitter account, or things that you expect them to engage with that are not necessarily Excel, and then use that as sort of the focal point. Because one thing that we have is that even some of our moderators are people who, they have YouTube channels, but they don't have, consistent YouTube content. They're not all about creating on YouTube. They enjoy it, but they do it as a very sparing thing. But they're still part of the community because they feel welcome. They feel comfortable. They feel like there's a place for them in that community. So what you want to find is common threads that all of the people who come to your videos for, and try and expand on that in some of these other outlets. You don't want to make YouTube videos about sports and gaming and all of these other things, but in your community tab, on your social media, if you create a Discord, those are the type of things that you want to use to keep people within your community once they come through the doors.
Maybe we'll go for another 15 minutes. That sound good to you?
Yeah, that works.
So I want to talk real quick about content too, because as I'm thinking about it, a lot of channels I follow that cover like Adobe Premiere and things like that, they keep me around and coming back to their channel. Like, yes, they've solved my problem with 1 or 2 videos, but then I noticed that they have these tips that I wasn't even asking about, and there they are, that help me become a better editor, for example. You can do the same thing with Excel, because there's so many formulas. There's so much to know about Excel. You could say top 5 formulas to create your next spreadsheet in better time. Or sorry if I'm butchering this, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. If you offer not just answers to specific questions on your channel, but also get people thinking about things they weren't asking about in the first place, they're going to check out more of your videos and go, now, wait a minute, I'm going to subscribe to this person and come back because they had tips for me that I wasn't even imagining. And here they are right in front of me. These are great. Maybe they'll make more of those. So it does become a balancing act of making different types of content too. If you want to get people coming back to a channel that is very niche and very specific to, you've been going out, you've been answering these questions. What are other types of content you can make? It comes down to that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And some people get bogged down because we're always telling people to niche down to make sure you're doing very specific content. But that doesn't mean you can't experiment. That doesn't mean as you grow and you have people who are dedicated, engaged users, doesn't mean you can't play around a little bit with your content. You may not get as many new people from those, videos, but you can satisfy some of the people who are in your community. You could show a bit more of your personality. And even with shorts, it's a great way because, it's not a full form video. A lot of your people may not see it, but you could have a little bit more fun. And there's that expectation that it's not the same tutorial sort of format that you're used to. It's not the same standard franchise format that you're used to. This is something a little bit different, a little bit more fun, showing a little bit more of yourself out there.
Absolutely. So the Retro Den says, since shorts don't pull many loyal subscribers to my specific niche, do you think using a hybrid strategy of switching from shorts to normal videos is a good idea to pull in a loyal audience? I personally believe yes, that's a good way to do it. We've been kind of playing around with should we make a shorts channel that runs alongside our primary channel? And that's what you'll find is that people will subscribe to the shorts channel, but they're not necessarily loyal because the subscribe button is just so easy to press while you're watching shorts. It's just right there on the bottom, bright red. It's really the only button you can interact with, I think, at all times on a short, maybe the like button as well. So I think people click it very naturally, and they click so many that they can't possibly come back and remember all the people they subscribe to. So yeah, absolutely mix it up, because a percentage of them will come back. And then if they see that you have a variety of content, not just shorts, but longs as well, I do think that's beneficial. I don't necessarily as months go by with this new shorts feature, I don't necessarily believe a new channel is the way to go unless you're going to break away from what you talk about on your main channel. And then it's a discussion of do you have time to do that? But yes, so that would be my personal advice there.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think, if you're clicking the subscribe button on a short shelf, you're probably not getting the notification option. You're not getting, the bell to click on as well. You're clicking on the subscribe button and kind of moving on. You're moving to a different channel. You're moving to a different video. It's a lot different style of content viewing. But what we know is that you can get eyeballs, you can get subscribers. So it'll help you boost those numbers. And, you can not necessarily see the boost in every single video, but it's comforting to know that you're getting new people on your channel. It's comforting to know that YouTube is finding people who like your content and serving it to them. It takes a little bit more for them to come back. It takes an extra step for them to find you a second time around, but it's great to get those metrics. It's great to get a few more people onto your channel, but just keep plugging away on your regular content as well, because that's where the bread and butter is going to be. That's where if you get monetized, that's where you're going to get your money from. Use the shorts how we see them allocated, right? They're fun. They're a different style. They're a way to break away from some of your content. They can get subscribers. They can get viewers. But if you're creating long form content, keep doing that. Just use the shorts to mix it up a bit.
Yeah. Introvert Gamer Archie, thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate that. I want to answer this one. That we're getting into more general questions, a little outside the community topic, but we are getting close to wrapping up here. So does bracket in your title do anything like dog in your title if you're a puppy channel? Do I need the brackets, or is it just wasting space? Should I do bait title? You mean clickbait title to get views? I think maybe I know what you're saying. I don't know. It's hard to, your example of just dog in the title. I kind of imagined a title about either it's taking my dog for a walk, but for some reason you put dog in brackets, which I don't know why you would do that. I would say that's wasting space. Or if it's a video and a dog is in it, but it's about something else, and you're just sticking the word dog in your title to hopefully get some more clicks from it. I also don't think that's going to be helpful because now you're confusing viewers and they might not click on the video because of it. And then your YouTube's not recommending it anymore. And as for a clickbait title, I mean, define clickbait. I mean, people have tried to say we do that, but we just kind of focus on titles that we know people are searching for, and that we rank really well for. Do you have any comments on this?
Well, as my dog is currently scratching at the door, I wish someone
You mean dog?
Yeah. I wish someone would put my dog in a bracket at the moment so it would stop doing that. Not in a negative way, just in a stop doing that kind of way, because she's only 10 pounds anyway. What we like to preach is that you should write your titles for the people who are reading them. So if someone like Dan is confused by even the question, I think that's a good indicator that putting a word in brackets is only going to confuse people. It's not going to make anyone more likely to click on a video because you put a specific word in a bracket. They're going to read the sentence. They're going to look at the thumbnail. That's what's going to be making their decision. YouTube's not going to push a video because it has a word in a bracket. The algorithm is going to look for keywords. That keyword's going to be dog. That keyword is not going to be open bracket, dog, close bracket. So again, write your titles clear and concise. Make it something that someone wants to click on because they know what they're going to get when they click on that video, and do the exact same thing with your thumbnail. And that's going to be the best result. Don't try and trick anybody with a title. Don't try and trick the algorithm with your title. Don't add a bunch of words or hashtags to the end of your video, to your video's title. Make it clear, make it concise, make it interesting, and make it so a person who is looking at it can easily read it.
Yeah. Does engagement on a community page of your channel factor into whether or not YouTube will push out your videos? I touched on this a little bit earlier when I was talking about a poll that I did. Again, it's so hard to say because we don't really understand, because YouTube doesn't tell us. We don't know with definitive answers what the algorithm does. However, if people see your community posts and they interact with them on a regular basis, it's fair to assume that some of those people might get recommended one of your videos. Because here's the thing, like a whole conversation is happening right now about the community tab and is it broken, quote unquote. And we did cover this in the podcasts. I already gave my opinion on this a couple podcasts ago, but I will say that I don't think it's necessarily broken. I think it's been widely underused, and maybe that's why it feels broken. But like the person in question who brought up this argument, the spiffing Brit, I was seeing the polls and everything, but I watch gaming content and they make gaming content. So while I was voting on these nonsense polls and stuff and having fun with it, really when I went to check out the channel, I'm like, oh, gaming channel. Got it. That makes sense. I get why this is being recommended to me. And just because I visited the channel, then I'm seeing their videos pop up. So it's hard to say, did the community tab push those videos to me, or did the fact that I checked out their channel now push the videos to me? You can run tests on your own though. Pick a channel, make a mental note of it. Like, okay, Bob's channel, got it. I see that poll, I'm going to interact with it. And then every time you see something from Bob, interact with it, comment on it, whatever, and see if YouTube eventually in your home feed recommends a video, and then that'll be your answer right there. I haven't tested it too much. Maybe you have. I haven't tested it that deep.
I have not, but I think what's clear is that if you're interacting with someone's community page, whether or not you're subscribed, you're going to start getting more of their community, tab information. So you mentioned the spiffing Brit, or I don't know if I even said that right.
Yeah.
But I watched one of his videos, or saw one of his community things, and for the next 2 weeks, I saw probably everything he posted his community tab. I stopped interacting with it. Now I'm not seeing it anymore.
Disappears.
So clearly, whether or not the videos are being pushed to you, the community tab is, and that's an eyeball, right? Someone is seeing your logo, someone is seeing your name, and if they're interested in that type of content and you have a clear logo and a clear branding, they're more likely to click on it, right? So it's comments on your community tab are great. Votes on community polls are great. It's more likely that that person is going to see your channel pop up on their community tab or in their feed. Whether or not it's a video doesn't necessarily matter. They're going to see your name more often. That makes them more likely to click on you. That makes it more likely that this person is going to be part of your community. So it's definitely something that you want to do and something you want to encourage people to do.
Anecdotally, I'm noticing that a lot of my older videos, since being more active on my community tab, and the tab post doing well, I'm noticing more of my videos getting views per hour that they weren't getting before. They were basically zeroed out, and now suddenly they're popping back up a little bit. So I've been wondering, are my videos getting recommended more? And that might be a sign right there. But again, I'm not digging too much into this. My personal channel is very much a hobby that I do on my free time, so I don't have time to really research that hard because I'm so busy. But yeah, it's a good question, and I think you could test that out.
Yeah, so with your buttery smooth voice, Dan, I think it's very easy that when you finish watching one video, you want to watch more of them. So I know I'm the type of person who would be like, I'm going to go watch some more of his videos because I just enjoy this atmosphere.
I'll admit it. The reason I have no time to make more videos is because I keep getting caught doing that. I keep watching my own videos. I watch one, I'm like, that sounded good. And then I just, 20 videos in, I'm like, oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
eventually I finish my whole library of videos, and then I'm free to make a new one. So yeah, it does take me a long time to make new content. Sorry. I had to do it. I had to make that admission here live.
It's okay. This is off the podcast. This is off the record. This is only for you people in the chat. Don't spread that information.
Yeah, please don't spread that information. I have a travel channel. I do hiking on mountains, rivers, and forests. So how should I use my hashtags and keywords? I wouldn't worry too much about the hashtags. Definitely put a few there. I like to use ones that are unique to me rather than using ones that everyone's using, because that doesn't really do much. But hashtags, they're not a big search draw. YouTube's making some pages with them now, but that's still not a reason to stress them. As for keywords, you want to be researching just if you're going hiking and you're traveling and things like that, and maybe you're a newer channel, maybe you could give tips and tricks about the type of gear you're using and things like that. Try to, do some general research as to what your competition's doing. It's hard to say. What do you any of our advice? I guess it's because we're getting so late in the day. My coffee's worn off, man.
Well, what I would say is that you can play around with those hashtags and test them out a little bit, right? Maybe the location as a hashtag might work because people are going to be searching for specific locations. So you can try maybe the state you're in, maybe the specific location you're in one video, maybe something about the type of hiking / forest / river that you're hiking around, and play around with those and see if those gain traction, because that's the type of thing that someone may search for, or someone may click on a hashtag of to be like, wow, this video of Vermont is beautiful. I'm going to click on hashtag Vermont, and I want to see a whole page full of Vermont videos, and click on certain ones. So that's a good thing to sort of experiment with. And keywords, I think, is one of the kind of more important things throughout your YouTube community. So it should be your description, your title, your tags, your thumbnail, the words that you're using throughout your video. You want the high ranking keywords to be mixed in throughout there. You don't want to force them in there. You want them to be relevant. You want them to be natural. You want them to have a place in each of these different areas, but you want to use them as much as possible. Growing up learning SEO and search engine optimization, that was always a big thing, right? You'd make a website, you'd throw the same keyword in it 400 times and hope that sort of, popped you up in the search algorithm. Things have gotten a lot smarter. Just throwing the words in there doesn't work as well, but finding high ranking keywords, making sure that they naturally fit your videos, making videos that conform to those keywords and fit the topics is a good way to get boosted up in those searches.
And yes, our tools will help you nail down your keywords. We have a lot of keyword research built into our tool. So we also have a lot of like really cool tag tools and stuff too. But these days tags are not as important. But I still would definitely fill them out. But they can be a great place to start when you're looking for more keywords to maybe add to your description. I've actually, after going through just the tool where we can update our tags, I've changed bits of my title, realizing there's one that popped up that had a really good score on it that I didn't think of before during my research phase. So, I mean, yeah, our software helps you with all of that sort of thing. All of that sort of thing. That's what I just said.
That is the Friday at 4:00 buzz going on that you hear there. No doubt about it. It's so a bit of a week.
Let's take one more question. And again, we've been trying to focus on community ones. So if your question has been answered yet, especially as it pertains to growing your community, please ask it now. We will take one more question before we all go get some water and take a nap.
Yes, and I'm going to also pin a comment for the Discord. If you do have more questions, if it wasn't answered, that's a good place to go, right? You can get access to me. You can get access to community members. You can get access to people who are in the exact same situation as you are. They're YouTube creators. They're community managers. They're people who want to be full-time YouTubers in the future, and they have the same questions as you. They've asked those questions before. They're great with feedback on thumbnails and banners and keywords and SEO and analytics. And we try and discuss all of that in the Discord. So if you have more questions, go in there, send me a DM, send me a shout out, do what you like, have some fun, and feel like a welcome member of the vidIQ community.
Back in my day, I didn't have a Discord or anything to go to. I didn't have a group full of YouTubers that I could ask, hey, are you guys going through this too? And it's just so cool to have a place just full of content creators going through exactly what you're going through at all different stages. A lot of folks in there who have, crossed hurdles that you're currently trying to cross, and they spend the time to answer your questions. So it is so cool if you have questions we didn't get to today to go in there. I'm seeing Fire Gaming is asking, should I change my description for my videos? I don't really know what that means. If I don't know what they are now, I guess. But just wanted to I've seen that a couple times. I just not a very detailed question, Fire Gaming. But if you want to flesh that out more and ask in our Discord, I'm sure someone can guide you there. Let's take Carl Art Reed. I'm barely able to keep up making content for YouTube as an artist, plus editing and everything else. Any advice on how to reach more people as a new YouTuber? Art content creation is long. I'll start. I think that art channels are tough. They are really tough. I don't know what you're doing on your channel currently, but a couple of things you could try. You could try YouTube Shorts and take something you drew. It looks like you might draw just based on your avatar. So I'm going to stick with drawing as an example. Take something you drew and do a speed draw. See what it would look like in 60 seconds time, or 59 or whatever it is, and make that into a YouTube short, square vertical video, and see if that resonates with your audience after a couple days of putting it out there, like speed drawing Iron Man or something like that. Simple title, because the YouTube short doesn't have to be overthought. And that's a few things you could try. You could get some new eyeballs on your channel that way. The other thing you could do is try live streaming. So the opposite, a very long, as I call it, and take your audience through your process and chat with them as you're going. So it takes a little more attention on your part. You're looking at chat, you're trying to draw, you're trying to do your thing, but that could be another tool at your disposal if you haven't tried either of those yet. Live stream your process, and then take a chunk of the live stream and turn into a video. That way you've just made 2 bits of content in one go. You've done your live stream, and then maybe you make some shorts, and maybe you take the whole thing and condense it into a short, and then maybe you take a part of it where you are having a good conversation with your audience, or you take the hour-long live stream and cut it into a 10-minute montage of you doing this. So maybe to just some music. So a few different things you can do just with drawing one piece of artwork. Any advice?
Yeah, I think that's the general idea, is a sort of repurposing of content. If you're only going to be able to make one high quality video a week, that's fine. You don't want to make 5 low quality videos a week because that is your only other option. Try and reuse some of that content that you're creating and package it up in different ways. Like Dan said, shorts are a good way. Live streams are a good way. Doing question and answers is a good way. Showing people your process, behind the scenes footage is a great way of creating more content while you're creating content.
Yeah. And I put up Artist Haven comment here because she's speaking directly to Carl Art Reed and saying it's about making time to do what you need to do. You can now schedule posts on Facebook and other such things. It's been a lifesaver for me. She's an artist in our community who's been here a very long time. So thank you so much for being here and offering your advice as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to, make content out of that. If you have a talent like that, like an artistic talent, you can do a lot of things with just one piece that you're working with. So that is our Q&A for the day. My voice is shot, and that's no good because I'm not going to be able to marathon my videos later if I only make videos that sound raspy and gross. So hopefully people get that reference from earlier. Anyone just getting in is like, what?
You'll just rewind the first 20 minutes of this video over and over again. It'll be fine.
Yeah. First 20, 30 minutes was pretty solid. I can listen to that and fall asleep tonight, I think.
Yeah. There you go. What's this new sleep story you got, Dan? Oh, no, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Puts in headphones. Thank you everybody for being here. It was a lot of fun. And I'm not exactly sure if this episode will go up on Thursday. I think it'll go up on Thursday if you want to go back and listen to the audio podcast if you missed it earlier. Or depending on how the schedule will shake out, maybe something else will go up on Thursday. But eventually this will be on the TubeTalk podcast feed. So be sure to subscribe to TubeTalk on your podcast platform of choice. We talk about a lot of interesting topics. If you guys follow any of our live streams, you may know of a name, 100% Zelda. We talk about them constantly. Well, we actually got to interview the man behind the channel, which was awesome. And he gives a lot of really, really interesting insight into the way he like approaches YouTube. It's really unique. It's really cool. And I would highly recommend it. I am a little bit biased, I know, but I'd still recommend it. And then before that, Rob and I discussed the YouTube community tab as well. And then there's a whole library of podcasts that Liron did while he was here, interviewing all kinds of YouTubers who take you through all kinds of things. So if you're looking for some extra YouTube content that doesn't require you to sit at your desk, maybe you're like, I got to go cook dinner, Dan, shut the heck up. Well, that's okay. You can listen to the TubeTalk podcast and get even more YouTube advice right in your eardrums. Right in the eardrums.
That's right. I will say this is my first ever podcast, so thank you guys for tuning into the podcast portion of this. As a longtime podcast listener, this is how it all started. So one day, 10 years from now, when I'm the next Joe Rogan, but not as crazy, this is how it all started.
This is where you got your start. Remember us, okay?
Just as much mixed martial arts talk, though.
Remember folks like the Artist Haven and Urban Tourist and Rogue Scholar and Piano World and Carl Art Reed and Rogue Scholar again, and For the Love of Gaming and Rexus and Cal Coaches. And who else do you need to remember when you get big and famous?
Oh, well, that's a good question. Well, I was talking to Cal in Discord, but he clearly forgot about the live stream, so he's not here with us. Wild Cascadia, though, and Lazy Daisy, that is a great name. Was it Cookie Sheets and Sweets? We'll always remember that one. And Game Roll, who is in the chat but doesn't seem to have moderator status, and I don't understand why that is, but thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you in the Tuesday Channel Out live stream. That's where we'll see you again. So yes, cool. Looking forward to it. I'm looking for buttons to click. I promise I'm trying to leave for real this time. All right, everybody.
Just leaving me hanging. I'll do the wave. vidIQ standard. That way Dan can find his buttons. And I'll look for Game Roll, since I thought I saw that he wasn't a moderator. I don't know what happened. Could have swore I did it. Maybe I made someone else a moderator in his place. There we go. I got it. I think he's just going to leave me hanging here. I'm going to say bye to you guys. Who's still in the chat? Urban Taurus still. Thank you, sir. Wasp, bye. Rogue Scholar. Ryu and Boba. Wild Cascadia Radio Zine. I guess I didn't say the whole thing. Ethan Reck, what's going on, man? How you been? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Carl Art and Reed. My brother's name is Carl, so it's great to see you. The Artist Haven, of course. Perry Pictures. I thought that said Penny Pinchers, but I'll take it. Perry Pictures. Hey, Blake Mamba, the Black Mamba. Haven't seen you in a while either. Kyle Pie. Kai Pie. I'm getting hungry. I'm on a diet. I'm down 20 pounds this year. I'm losing that quarantine weight. Sip and chat with B Dan.
Is your arm tired?
No, I got this pinky tech. There you go. You got your moderator status. At least I did it properly for one person. Jojo Doss, even though we stink at channel auditing your channel. Glad you joined us here. The Black Mamba again. Now we're just repeating everybody. Artist Haven, Rogue Scholar, Wild Cascadia. I'm not even reading what you're saying. I'm just reading everyone's name.